channel for another story time. If you like my story time segments, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Click subscribe below so you know every time I post one. So one of my last videos sparked a really good question. How did I meet my husband? And you know, it makes sense for him to be in the video, but I don't need him in the background rolling his eyes and mm-ing the whole video because he acts like I just be in these streets lying on him. So we're gonna hear my side of the story, my version, and maybe eventually I'll give him his own little video to give his side of the story. So if you don't know, me and my husband have been together since high school. We met in summer school going into our junior year. And I really just needed a ride, and he had a car and I didn't have a car. So if you're nice enough to take me home, then let's go. And I didn't even personally ask him for the ride. Like my other friend, who I guess knew him for whatever reason, I don't even know, asked him for a ride for me. And he took me home. And I think he took me home like after that again and again and again during summer school because my mom had work. And one day he ended up just sitting at my house listening to me talk about my life story. Not that I had much going on, I was like 16, but you know, teen years dramatic. But sat there listening to my dramatic life for like hours on end just in my driveway. That was the start of our best friendship. We were best friends for like 2 years before he asked me out. He asked me to be his girlfriend our senior year of high school after watching me dog the hell out of so many people before him. I mean, like, I was probably the worst girlfriend you could ever have. I remember somebody told me that they liked me but they never wanted to date me because they knew that I was a cheater and they didn't want those problems. How are you just gonna say I'm a cheater? You don't know my life. But I wasn't a very good girlfriend for a very long time. I was never a good girlfriend. I mean, like, my intentions were good, but my behavior and my actions were probably not that hot. So for him to ask me out, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Look at you. So he asked me out on Valentine's Day of 2013 in a really corny letter that he gave to me after school and told me not to read until I went home. And later on found out he told me that because he said that I like to share things with my friends, and if he wanted everyone to know what it said, he would have just read it out loud himself. Okay, so we started dating our senior year of high school after being best friends for like 2 years. And I think it was probably the worst experience in a relationship I've ever had in my entire life. Like the worst. I think like the entire school was in our relationship. His mom was like the worst. And it was just like so much drama all the time. I think it was karma for me being a bad girlfriend to everybody else. Disclaimer, I mean, I'm not completely sure why his mom hates me so much. I assume that it just stems from me dating his brother, but that's another story for another day. Also, when we started dating, like, it was awkward because I don't know how much we really even liked each other because he swears he didn't like me that much, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. Everyone thought I liked him way before we even started dating, and I didn't. I was already in a terrible relationship. I didn't need more terrible relationships with someone else. So we get together senior year, and we're dealing with all this drama, and, you know, I'm like wanting to fight people, and we're like getting in fights in the school hallway, and some teacher told him to stay away from me because I was a bad influence. And, you know, we just had all these people with all these like opinions on like me and our relationship. And it's just like, y'all don't know me. I feel like I always have to like say that because people just assume the absolute worst. And I'm just like, I understand, like, you think I'm some temptress or something to like set people up and put them in bad situations or something like that, but again, good intentions, just wasn't always the nicest person, which is due to my past really bad relationship, but that is definitely another story for another day, because that is, no. So I keep getting sidetracked. We were dating our senior year, and that was dramatic. And then we graduated together, and graduation was dramatic. So after we graduated, you know, we both kind of went and did our own thing, because I went to school and he joined the military. And so we obviously went our separate ways, because the military sends you off yonder pretty quick. And I mean, I was pretty loyal when he was in basic training. And then he got out of basic training, and that's when everything went to... So we were still just dating, and I was like still the worst girlfriend ever. And we were always breaking up because I was the worst girlfriend ever. I feel like at least I can admit that I was the worst girlfriend ever. At this point, this is not even like a how I met him. This is a how we ended up together, which is by like the grace of God, because if I went into detail, like, it's like, how did you even make it? So we dated for another like 2 years total. 2 years total. We dated for like, I want to say 1.5 years after we graduated. And that was a very, very, very bad 1.5 years. Like, I remember still having problems with his mom because she just thinks I'm this big old hoe. And we got engaged once before we actually got married, and had to call it off because I started getting like bashed on Facebook by his family, and I was just like, A, you're all adults like bashing a child, and B, like, come on guys, absolutely not. This is unacceptable. But you know, I guess he's the wave. He's what it is. So I got over it, and then I switched schools, and I was, you know, out being a terrible girlfriend still, turning up with my friends and running the streets of where I was at, doesn't matter where. And you know, it was just 1.5 years of just being like a really, really girlfriend. And then magically, 2 years later, when I was taking a break from school, he called me during what was about to be a 4-day weekend for some type of holiday that's really not like a real holiday, but it's like on the calendar, so people get 4-day weekends for it. And he said,
"Hey, you want to get married?"
And I said, and I was like, okay, so I guess my thought days are over, which is also a story for another day. I guess I can't hoe with my friends anymore. Alright, that's fine. I'm cool with it. So then me and my best friend, we packed up our bags and we drove 8.5 hours to go sleep in the barracks so that I could get married without telling my parents. You know, my mom even asked me, like, are you getting married? Like, did you leave to go get married and you're not telling me? And I was like, no, Mom, like, why would I do that to you? Like, I just lied for no reason. This is probably why I'm a bad girlfriend. Like, I'm a bad daughter too, I just lied. But I was like, no, Mom, why would I do that? And she told me that I was childish and to call her back when I was done playing games. And I called her back like 2 seconds later. I was like, yeah, Mom, I got married. Sorry. And then she cried, and then she told my dad, and then he cried. And then I went to the club. I got drunk and I got lit, and I threw some booty everywhere, and now I'm married. And now we're about 2 years in, and it was not that fun for a while, but now it's pretty lit. So, you know, shoot your shot, because we would not be together today if I didn't shoot mine. I don't even normally approach people, but I shot my shot on like homecoming. I approached Marvin first. Granted, it wasn't for a relationship, it was for other things that I'm not going to talk about on camera because my mom watches my videos. But shoot your shot, because that shot might become the winning basket. Meaning like you didn't know with that person forever. Like I'm pretty sure everyone got that, but I just had to put it out there just in case like you didn't get my metaphor. So thank you guys for listening to my terrible story on how I ended up with my husband. I know that was like the worst story you've ever heard in your life, but you know, that's a story that involves like a bunch of miniature stories that I can eventually tell if, you know, you want to hear them. But right off the bat, it's like, I might want to keep those to myself unless I have to tell them, which I don't mind. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning into my latest video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And you know, if you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Leave your feedback below in the comments, and make sure you share it with all of your friends.
You know I'm saucy, and it's always wet.